On October 14, 1943, known forever as Black Thursday, the skies above Schweinfurt, Germany, turned into a slaughterhouse for the U.S. 8th Air Force. At precisely 1400 hours, Boeing B-17F flying fortresses of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Bomb Divisions, 291 heavy bombers in total, droned through broken cloud layers at 25,000 feet, their four Wright R-1820 Cyclone engines straining under 8,000-pound bomb loads of 500-pound general-purpose AN-M64s fused for 1/100th of a second delay. Target: the Kugelfischer ball bearing plants, heart of Germany's Panzer production, vital to every Panzerkampfwagen 4 Ausf H rolling off assembly lines. Leading the high group of the 305th Bomb Group, 42-29859, the Innocent Bystander, piloted by 2nd Lieutenant Robert Rosenthal from the 100th Bomb Group. The trailing low squadron of the 40th Bomb Group, B-17F-55DL, 42-3432, Skyway Chariot, call sign Red 13, commanded by 1st Lieutenant Charles C. Kuhl. This was no ordinary mission. Schweinfurt's defenses awaited. 300-plus flak guns from 88mm Flak 36 batteries ringing the city. Radar-directed Würzburg-Riese predictors slaved to fuse cutters, and Luftwaffe Jagdgeschwader primed for interception. JG-2 Richthofen with Bf-109 G6s, JG-1 Osaw with FW-190 A8s, JG-26 Schlageter. Over 500 fighters scrambled from Aachen to Stuttgart airfields. For Skyway Chariot's crew of 10 young Americans from Thorndale, Texas to Brooklyn, New York, it was their 12th sortie. Little did they know, isolation would make theirs legendary. Pause. The second Schweinfurt raid stemmed from combined bomber offensive directives under Operation Point Blank, issued June 14, 1943, by the combined Chiefs of Staff. U.S. strategy: daylight precision bombing to cripple Axis industry without night area tactics favored by RAF Bomber Command. Ball bearings, 60% of Europe's supply from Schweinfurt's 5 factories employing 30,000 workers, powered every Mercedes-Benz DB605 engine in Bf-109s, every Maybach HL230 and Tiger I heavy tanks. First raid, August 17, 1943, cost 60 B-17s for minimal damage. Germans dispersed production to Steyr-Daimler-Puch in Austria. Now, General Karl Spaatz, 8th Air Force commander, gambled again, overriding warnings from Lieutenant General James Doolittle. Logistics: 674 tons of 100-octane fuel trucked from Thames Haven refineries, bombs from Burtonwood Depot, crews briefed at Alconbury's Nissen huts on flak corridors over the Ruhr. Pause. German High Command viewed deep penetration raids as suicidal. Reichsmarschall Hermann Göring, Luftwaffe chief, had positioned JG-300 Wildeshau for high-altitude intercepts, but JG-11 under Obstlit Erich Mix led the day's response from Oldenburg. Oberst Josef Pips Priller's JG-26 boasted 268 victories. Major Gunther Rahl's JG-300 fielded 15 Bf-109 G6s with Werfer Granate 21 rocket pods. Supply lines stretched. Synthetic fuel from Luna IG Farben plants. 20mm Minengeschoss shells from Hassag Leipzig. Previous clashes: Regensburg, August 17th, losses 60 bombers to 27 fighters, taught Germans head-on attacks raked B-17 Norden sites. Morale high after Black Thursday promised annihilation. Enter the crew of Skyway Chariot. 1st Lieutenant Charles C. Kuhl, pilot, 26, Dallas Oilman's son, 11 missions. 2nd Lieutenant William Billy Hargrove, co-pilot, 22, Alabama farm boy. 2nd Lieutenant Nathan Nate Feldman, navigator, 24, Bronx Bombardier trainee. T. Sergeant Frank Rossi, top turret gunner engineer, 28, Sicilian immigrant mechanic. Sart Sergeant Joe Kowalski, radio operator, 23, Chicago Pole, Morse code whiz. Sart Sergeant Leroy Lee Jackson, ball turret gunner, 21, Georgia sharecropper. Sart Sergeant Tommy Ruiz, waist gunner, 20, El Paso Mexican-American. Staff Sergeant Eddie Malone, tail gunner, 25, Irish Bostonian. T. Sergeant Hank Petrov, waist gunner, 27, Russian émigré. C. Sergeant Mike O'Brien, bombardier, 23, San Francisco Irish. These men trained at Peyote Army Airfield, Texas, in B-17E Shoo 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 Baby simulators, flew anti-sub patrols off Newfoundland before Thorpe Abbott's assignment, 100th Bloody 100th Bomb Group, fictionalized but rooted in real 305th/40th losses. Cool's diary. Engines cough like old men in fog. Previous raid September 6th, Oschersleben, number 3 prop feathered by 30 mm. 8th Air Force Command. Major General Ira C. Eaker at High Wycombe, P-47C. Thunderbolts from 78th Fighter Group escorting to 20,000 feet only. Range limit. German side. General Adolf Galland, Jagdfliegerführer Mitteldeutschland, coordinated from Brunswick. Attack the stragglers. Logistics faltered for Allies. No P-51B Mustangs yet. Weather. 10 out of 10 overcast, below 15,000 feet, minus 20 degrees Celsius at altitude. Ice on props. Foreshadowing the trap. Reconnaissance Spitfire PR-11. Photos showed 200-plus parked Me-10-9s at Gütersloh. What happened next would expose daylight bombing's fatal flaw. By 1000 hours GMT, 291 B-17s formed 3 divisions. First high over Aachen, second middle, third low trailing. Kuhl's low squadron lagged 2 miles, oxygen masks fogging. German radar plotted inbound Heimatschützer, home defense. Little did Kuhl know, 15 Bf-109 G6s from 5/JG-11, led by Lieutenant Hans Fritz Weber, waited at 28,000 feet near Kassel. History would never forget the fighter swarm that followed. At 12:15 hours over the Zuider Zee, the 2 91 B-17s tightened into combat boxes. 6 plane Vs within 3 plane Vs, staggered high-middle-low for overlapping .50 caliber M2 Browning fire cones. Skyway Chariot anchored the low right echelon of the 40th Bomb Group's trailing box, 42-3432's aluminum skin glinting under partial sunbreaks at 24,500 feet. Terrain below, flat North Sea polders yielding to the hilly Harz Mountains ahead, Schweinfurt, 50 miles distant in Franconian Basin, crisscrossed by main river tributaries and rail yards feeding Kugelfischer's Werk 1 through 5. Weather reports from RAF Met Office. 8 out of 10 cumulus at 18,000 feet, visibility 10 miles, winds 20 knots from 270 degrees, temperature minus 18 degrees Celsius causing supercharger icing on right cyclones. Kuhl keyed the interphone. Check guns. Oxygen 100%. Stay tight. Reconnaissance from PRU Mosquitoes overflew Gütersloh at dawn. 120 Bf-109 G6s of JG-11 on dispersals. 80 FW-190 A8s of JG-26 at Nordholz, fueled with C3 synthetic from Luna. German Freya radars at Dielen tracked the bomber stream from 150 miles out, vectoring Rottenführer to IP at 1345 hours. JG-11's 5th Staffel, 12 machines under Lieutenant Hans Weber, climbed from Oldenburg on 1,100 horsepower DB-605As, wingtips contrailing at 27,000 feet. Terrain favored interceptors, open skies over Lower Saxony, no Alps blocking climb. Morale crackled over RT. Amerikaner kommen, Kopfattacke. Communications solid via FUG-16ZY sets. American SCR-522S jammed sporadically by German direction finders. Troop positions locked. High group led by 101st Bomb Group Colonel Elliot Vandevanter. Middle by 20th Bomb Group Major John Eaton. Low by 40 Bomb Group Lieutenant Colonel Lewis P. Ensign. Skyway Chariot 1,000 yards off right wing of Piccadilly Lily, engines synchronized at 2,300 RPM. Feldman's Norden sight swept factory grids. Rossi cycled top turret Brownings. Waist gunners Jackson and Petrov scanned quadrants. Malone in tail reporting, "Bandits 10 o'clock high, 20 miles. Morale strained. Hargrove scribbled diary. Box feels naked without P-47s. God keep us. Foreshadowing doom. Pathfinders reported 150% flak density over target. Little did they know Weber's Schwarm circled above the clouds. Pause. Troop positions locked. High group led by 101st Bomb Group Colonel Elliot Vandevanter. Middle by 20th Bomb Group Major John Eaton. Low by 40 Bomb Group Lieutenant Colonel Lewis P. Ensign. Skyway Chariot 1,000 yards off right wing of Piccadilly Lily, engines synchronized at 2,300 RPM. Feldman's Norden sight swept factory grids. Rossi cycled top turret Brownings. Waist gunners Jackson and Petrov scanned quadrants. Malone in tail reporting, "Bandits 10 o'clock high, 20 miles. Morale strained. Hargrove scribbled diary. Box feels naked without P-47s. God keep us. Foreshadowing doom. Pathfinders reported 150% flak density over target. Little did they know Weber's Schwarm circled above the clouds. Pause. 14:02 hours. First blood over Brunswick. 15 BF-109 G6s of 5/J G11 burst from 28,000 feet sun high. Weber's Rota diving at 450 miles per hour through the low box's right flank. Tracers arced, 20 mm and 13 mm MG-131s stitching aluminum. "Bandits! 2 o'clock level!" Malone screamed over interphone. A 303rd BG Fortress exploded mid-air, 6,000 pounds bombs cooking off in orange fireball, 10 shoots denied by following staffel. Skyway Chariot shuddered as shrapnel peppered tail, Malone's guns chattering 600 RPM bursts. Cool banked left corkscrew, Hargrove wrestling controls. "Hydraulics hit, flaps frozen." By 14:05, 5 bombers down, formation fraying. Just 20 miles from IP Schweinfurt, pressure mounted. Weber's Schwarm, exactly 15 machines, 9 G6s with MK-108 30mm cannons, 6 with gondola-mounted MG-FF/M, circled for Kopfstoß. Head-on passes at 500 miles per hour, closing 1,000 yards in 8 seconds. Enemy strength, precise. JG-11 committed 71 fighters total, 42 confirmed kills by dusk. Skyway lagged 500 yards, number 4 prop windmilling from flak hit. Feldman's voice cracked. "They're peeling off us. 15 closing." Ruiz diary later. Heart pounding like drum. Smoke everywhere. Friends falling. 14-12 hours. Piccadilly Lily wingman winged over. Crew bailing into 25,000-foot void. Pause. By 14-20 hours, overcast thickened to 10 out of 10 at 22,000 feet. B-17 descending into fighter kill zone. Ball turret Lee Jackson swiveled, hydraulics jammed, firing frozen guns manually. "They're on my tail, 300 meters. Petrov hosed right waist 0.50 seconds, brass cascading. German RT. "Achtung, der letzte Yank, nehmt ihn." Weber lined up dead 6, 800 miles per hour relative. Casualties mounted. Rossi, top turret hold, shrapnel in thigh. O'Brien, bombardier station afire, oxygen bottles venting. Cool. Feather number 4, dive to 18,000. Morale teetered. Kowalski prayed rosary beads. Little did they know, isolation sealed their crucible. 28 hours. Bomb run aborted, target obscured. Return leg, hell. 15 BF-10-9S reassembled. Weber dictating swarm attacks. 3 rotten of 5 planes each. Just 2,000 feet separation now. Eddie Malone tail. Fighters merging, 150 meters. Cannon fire. Tommy Ruiz waist. Lost Jackson, ball turret gone. Fear clawed. Hargrove diary fragment. Smell death in vents. Brothers gone. By 1435, formation scattered. Skyway alone over Castle, 200 miles from England. Foreshadowing legend. 1 fortress against 15. History would never forget. 1442 hours. Ammo dwindling. 1,200 rounds per gun down to 200. Germans pressed. BF-109G6W, number 163XXX, nosed over. 13mm raking fuselage. Nate Feldman, navigator. Blood on panels, screaming winds. Mike O'Brien fought fire with CO2 extinguisher, face blackened. Cool ordered. Corkscrew port, guns free. Petrov. They're laughing over radio, circling like wolves. Just 100 meters away, Weber's wingman overshot, grazed by Rossi's top turret. Tension peaked. 50 minutes of swarm, no relief. What followed would defy odds. 1445 hours. Chaos reigned in the cockpit of Skyway Chariot. A cold, burning smoke seeped from the ruptured fuselage as fire licked the rear gunner's station. T-Sergeant Eddie Malone, tail gunner, grappled with shattered plexiglass, his face smeared with soot, his 50 caliber guns jamming under thick smoke. "Keep her steady, Eddie." Cool's voice barely carried over the roar of engines and flak bursts. Suddenly, a jagged hole tore through the port wing, sending instruments plunging into darkness. The number 3 engine lost power, sputtering like a wounded beast. Sergeant Frank Rossi, top turret gunner, absorbed shrapnel in his left thigh, but clung to his post. "Can't move. Keep firing. Keep 'em off." His voice trembled, but steel did not break. A German fighter slashed through the formation, crashing into the wing of a nearby fortress. Cool dodged shrapnel as cockpit lights flickered, his hands white-knuckled on the yoke. "Brace for impact. Look alive, boys." Sergeant Leroy Jackson, ball turret gunner, yelled, "They're coming in low, 300 yards. Warehouse of hell today." Amidst the hellfire, Sergeant Joe Kowalski in the radio room heard the frantic crash call of fellow crews bailing into freezing air. "Last I heard, 35 fortresses down," he whispered. "They're not just fighters. They're death." At 1450, the dwindling ammo forced waist gunners Ruiz and Petrov to conserve what rounds remained. Enemy fighters surged, 10 o'clock, 50 meters. Ruiz fired a desperate burst. Tracer rounds lit the darkening skies. A 30mm cannon muzzle flared mere feet from Skyway Chariot's tail, ejecting burning bullets through its fuselage. Sparks showered over Malone's hatch. At one point, surge of flames licked the bomb bay. O'Brien bombardier fought choking smoke, oxygen leaking rapidly. "I'm hit bad. Can't breathe," he gasped. Feldman, the navigator, clamped his oxygen mask tighter. "Hold on, Mike. This isn't the end." The bomber's hydraulics failed, flaps frozen in mid-position. Cool wrestled the yoke with one hand, firing red flare to signal nearby formation. Smoke obscured vision. "We're going down if we stay here." During a weaving, evasive maneuver, Cool's voice cracked. "We're barely flying. I don't know how much longer." Malone's reply over the intercom. "Just a bit longer, Chuck." Fear, pain and stubborn clutch of survival filled the metal shell. A fighter's cannon ripped through the nose cone, instruments shattering. O'Brien slumped unconscious over the bomb site. "Mike!" Feldman cried, gripping controls for navigation. Moments dragged in a haze of noise and fire. "This is the end," whispered Cool, tears mixing with sweat. The fortress lurched as a cannon shell tore the left horizontal stabilizer. The instrument panel exploded in sparks and smoke. "God save us," muttered Kowalski. Yet the men held fast, 10 souls tethered by bravery against overwhelming odds. At 14:57 hours, against all odds, Skyway Chariot crested the Hards Mountains rim. Cool made a bold decision. Head for the forested valleys north of Göttingen, exploiting rugged terrain for cover. The fighters hesitated, a chance to regroup. Top turret Rossi, blood pumping through torn flesh, directed suppressive fire. "Keep 'em back! Watch those tails!" The German fighters, momentarily thrown off their attack patterns, faltered. Cool radioed nearby friendly 100th Bomb Group forming 3 miles ahead. "Need visual, low on fuel, 1 fighter close. Help!" He banked hard right, narrowly avoiding a head-on attack from an FW190A8, which overshot in the twist of battle. Feldman recalculated route to Allied lines. Morale surged with hope. "We'll make it home." Ruiz and Petrov reloaded the last round clips, firing sporadic bursts that kept German fighters wary. The remaining fighters shifted tactics, attacking from above and behind with less precision as fuel and ammo waned. Cool's crew responded with desperate gunnery and skillful piloting. At 15:05 hours, a squadron of P-47 Thunderbolts from 56th Fighter Group, having refueled and rearmed, intercepted the remnants of the Luftwaffe. Dive-bombing passes and cannon strafes scattered German attackers. Some turned for home, others fought until their fuel ran dry or ammunition was depleted. The battle-worn B-17, bloodied but aloft, limped on through the storm, its crew battered yet alive. What happened next would etch their struggle into history forever. Final offensive, end of battle. 2:15:00 to 2:30:00. By 15:10 hours, Skyway Chariot descended through thinning clouds toward the North Sea coastline. The crippled fortress wobbled, control surfaces sluggish from damage and hydraulic failure. Cool's voice clipped and firm. "Brace yourselves. We're coming in." The damaged bomb bay doors hung at odd angles, rattling with every engine throb. The crew prepared for emergency landing at RAF Thorpe Abbotts, 250 miles behind enemy lines. Meanwhile, Luftwaffe units, depleted and scattered, struggled to regroup. Weber's once formidable Schwarm was reduced to mere pairs, ammunition exhausted, engines overheated. The German Jagdgeschwader's final desperate attacks failed to bring down the stubborn B-17, battered but unbowed. Cool's evasive dogfighting, combined with well-aimed bursts from waist and top turrets, blunted the enemy's resolve. As the fortress crossed the North Sea at 3,000 feet, Cool ordered flaps down for landing. The airfield at Thorpe Abbotts was clouded in dusk shadows,